I'm Joshua Wilson, and you're listening to the Mad Life Podcast. A nation is battling with repeated fire outbreak. Some people are attributing it to arson. Some people are of the opinion that the fire outbreak is accidental. While some people believe that the houses that are being consumed in those fires are old houses, they are not deserving to still be standing. Some of them have expired, and those houses should have been demolished before the fire outbreak got to them. Either way, the federal government sets up a special fire service, a special unit, a special squad within the fire service to tackle the menace of fire outbreak, since the normal fire service is being overwhelmed with the situation. This special unit within the fire service have a track record of fixing fire situations before they get worse. And within a short period of time, the endemic fire outbreaks have died out. It becomes less of a threat. People are no longer worried about it. People are now able to move on with their normal life. Until suddenly, this special unit of the fire service begin to go around, and they would look at a house. They would decide this house is not fit to be here, and they will burn down the house. They would see someone's property. Maybe you leave your property outside. They would say, no, this property should not be here. So they will set it on fire. Deserving or undeserving, they begin to burn houses at a rate that is beginning to rival that was out there before their unit was set up. If at this point, everyone turns to the federal government and says, this special fire service unit that you created has outlived its purpose, how do you fault such an argument? That is what the Nigerian youth are contending with the Special Anti Robbery Squad. The Anti Robbery Squad that we have come to fear, that the average Nigerian dreads, that the youth are having PTSD just when they sight them, to the point that you see a small bus, not even a police bus this time around, a small bus coming up behind you, and you begin to panic. You don't know if you should run or walk. This is what the End SARS protests is about. Now, over the last couple of years, I can go as far back as 10 years now, I have seen older generation of Nigerians complain about how this young generation of Nigerians are unserious. They cannot stand up for themselves. They can't fight for their rights. They're only interested in playing games, watching football, watching Big Brother, and browsing. All you see them is complain on Twitter, complain on Facebook. They don't come out to put the foot, to put the boots to the road and fight for their rights. All of that continued until, I think, 2011, when the protest against the removal of fuel subsidy happened. The biggest activities was in Ojota in Lagos. The protest started without leadership, but within a short while, some figures came out and started to lead the protests. Eventually, the federal government gave them terms by which they should end the protest while the federal government would rectify the situation. The price of fuel returned back to normal for a while. and it seems things were going to sort themselves out. A better number of Nigerians believe that the protests, the agitation was not properly taken care of, and the leadership of that movement betrayed everyone else. I can't argue for or against that. But one thing I want to argue against, one thing I want to speak against, one thing I will stand against is that same generation of older Nigerians still coming out and standing after all these years, saying that this generation is unserious simply because they will put their money where their mouth is and support a BBN contestant. They said, we have misplaced priorities. And that is until this weekend. A couple of days ago, the first protest for NSAS from this batch started. And within a short time, I have seen people come out to stand for what they believe in. I can remember during the last Big Brother when the government increased the price of petroleum and also increased the price of electricity. People came out on Twitter and said it is because this generation is unserious and would not come out to protest. That is why the government can get away with that. Again, as much as I want to respond to that, I would say the average Nigeria, until we are touched, we do not respond. SARS, the Special Anti Robbery Squad, has been touching us in inappropriate ways. They are touching us figuratively and literally in ways that hurt, in ways that we never imagined possible, in ways that are leaving trauma on this generation. So when this generation decides that enough is enough, we came out and we are protesting. Suddenly, these same people that said we do not come out to protest are now claiming, no, you should be protesting for other things. You should be protesting for good governance. You should be protesting for fuel. You should be protesting for health. You should be protesting for education. There are 1,001 things to protest about in Nigeria. And all of that protests cannot hold in one day. Don't shift the goalposts. Acknowledge this one that is being done first of all. Applaud the youth first. There's a call that no, don't just end SARS. Reform the police. That is true. But where do you want that hashtag to begin from? End SARS, reform the police, defund the police, we want community policing. At the same time, someone else is still saying, let us practice true federalism. All of those issues are valid. But this generation has picked one issue to start with, and that is SARS. Believe me, at the appropriate time, they will come for every other subject matter. They would have built the experience from this one protest. And when they go for every other thing, they will get the results that they want. I believe that this government, especially the Minister of Information, who were saying BBN is against Nigerian culture, they wanted to ban BBN at that point. Right now, they must be wishing that BBN had not ended and the Nigerian youths can remain distracted. But BBN would only last 90 days or 71 days. And when it ends and the attention of this youth turns on you, you would be ready to sponsor the next BBN, hoping that with that you can get away with more nonsense. For goodness sake, even Thatcher came out to join the protests. I hope this government take that as a warning that the youth of today, they may have been silent for long. They may have been distracted for long. They may have been busy with other things for long. But when they turn their attention on you, nothing would move them. And again, for those that want to say, put the SARS issue aside because bad governance, SARS is just a small part of it. Do you want us to ask the government to step down? Is that where you want us to start from? No. We would start from our little victories. We will pick our battles one by one. First of all, SARS is a part of the police. The police is a part of the executive. The executive is one of the three arms of government. So when we end with SARS, then we'll touch the remaining part of government. Just wait until this generation have a taste of one victory over the government. Let them know what it feels like to have their voice heard. If this government was scared of Sowore or compromise Sowore, if this government believed that Segalink was too gentle so they can ignore him at times, if this government believe they can keep manipulating the National Labour Congress for their own convenience, they can infiltrate the Nigerian Bar Association, Pengasin, National Union of Teachers, and other trade unions, make them political, and make them less effective as a tool for the masses. If this government believes that Burna Boy can only sing, he won't act, that because he refused to come out to protest, that means we are all weaklings. If they count us to be unserious because Naira Marley decide not to come out and protest and rather engage in a chat with the PRO of the police, let them know that if this generation comes out to fight without a leader, then the war, this battle for the soul of this nation, is going to take a dimension they never imagined. The Nigerian youth will not put down their TikTok. They will not log out of Facebook or Twitter. They will keep streaming everything on Instagram and other social media platforms. If the TV stations, the radio stations, the newspaper choose to set another agenda, if they choose to ignore the protests, if they believe that either the government is bankrolling them or the government can come hard on them, because of that, this issue is one they don't want to touch, then we won't bother them. This revolution might not be televised, but it will still be broadcasted. It will be live streamed for the whole world to see. NSAS was the #1 trending topic in the whole world over the last couple of days. When the international media turned their attention on Nigeria and amplify our voices, then this government, we know that truly you can fool some people all the time. You can fool all the people sometimes, but you cannot fool every one of us every time. And if you ever think this protest is getting too much or excessive, just wait until the set of this last BBN housemates join the protests. Then you will know the battle line has just been drawn.